Take your metaphors, your allegories, take your life lessons, your speculative science fiction, take all the euphemisms and any other literary devices you can think of to explain this cartoon, light them on fire until they are nothing but ashes. Then take those ashes, mix them in a sack with wood chips soaked in lighter fluid, then light that sack on fire just to be sure. Because this isn't a show about a teenager becoming an adult, learning to deal with newfound responsibilities. This isn't a warning about the dangers of humanity's dependence on technology. This is a show about a guy who turns into a car. That's it. Now buckle up, because it's about to get weird. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of Turbo Teen. Turbo Teen is a 13-episode animated series that first aired in 1984 on Saturday mornings on the ABC network. The origin story is told within the first 30 seconds of the opening theme music. Brett Matthews is driving his car at night during a storm. Fate takes the wheel, lightning strikes a tree, forcing him off the road and right into a secret government research center. He literally crashes right into the building, into the beam coming out of an experimental device that merges him with his car at a molecular level. Now the two exist as one. Brett is cursed with the ability to change into a car whenever he gets hot. Unable to revert back to human form until he cools off, Brett deals with his newfound reality the only rational way possible. He and his friends and a dog join forces to fight crime and solve mysteries. Turbo Teen was a co-production of Ruby Spears Productions, Toei, and Hanho Hung Up Animation Studios. By 1984, Ruby Spears was a hit machine, having produced shows like Thundar the Barbarian, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Mr. T, and like the entire Saturday Supercade from Donkey Kong to Donkey Kong Jr., not to mention the Plastic Man comedy and adventure show, setting the precedent for a hero who could physically change into other things, including cars. Plastic Man could have been an influence. My Mother the Car could have been an influence. The Incredible Hulk was definitely an influence, as was the success of Knight Rider, which began in 1982. In fact, the opening titles and theme music have quite a bit of homage to Knight Rider. It's easy to imagine the creators sitting around wondering how you take the idea of Knight Rider a step further. Instead of Michael Knight and Kit, Michael Knight is Kit. Where do you start with the design of a guy who turns into a car? Which is more important, the guy or the car? To answer those questions, Ruby Spears tapped the talents of one of the greatest character designers of all time to bring their Ford Kafka to life. Jack Kirby blessed this Saturday morning metamorphosis with the same unequaled talents that birthed the Marvel Universe. You can draw a line from Mr. Fantastic to Galactus to Thor to Turbo Teen. It's not easy, but with enough ink and enough paper, you can draw that line. The cast included Michael Mish as Brett, T.K. Carter as his friend Alex, Pamela Hayden as his friend Patty, and the Frank Megatron Welker as Turbo Teen's arch nemesis, Dark Rider. Dark Rider, for those unfamiliar with context clues, was the bad guy. It was a mysterious big-wheeled monster truck that keeps showing up to try to entrap Brett in order to learn the secrets of his abilities. Dark Rider sounded like Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget, because Welker was not wasting a new voice on this show. I mean, a show about a guy that turns into a car when he gets hot? That must drive Brett crazy. You think you're progressive? Brett has no choice but to bundle his home and auto insurance. When this guy says, "Is it hot in here? Is it just me? Look out," because he's not flirting with you. He's about to turn into a car. See, for him, a carpool doesn't just mean ride sharing. It's driving into the water on a hot day so that he doesn't have to be turned into a car anymore. Look, the jokes write themselves, and it would be so easy to sit here and just run 8 minutes of me dunking on this show, but I ain't falling for no banana in the tailpipe. Yes, it is an absurd concept. Looking back on it now, we can mock the creative process from bumper to bumper. We can recoil at any attempt to criticize this thing with reasonable, rational questions. Does he consume fuel? Can he consume it when he's a human? If you put something in his trunk, or like leave your jacket in the back seat, where does it go when he changes back? Would that molecular beam have worked if he was driving other cars? What if he was driving another kind of vehicle, like a bicycle or a ride-on lawnmower? What if he'd been on a horse? What if he had just walked into it like regular? Would he be able to change into his clothes? Can he change into his clothes? If he's sick and runs a fever, do you call a doctor or a mechanic? Who details his car mode? But all of these questions miss the very important point of this cartoon. It's applying a very successful marketing formula to build a brand, to maintain excitement for that brand, to drive sales of a multitude of lifestyle-enhancing products, like toys.
We'll return after these messages.
I, Skeletor, have another warrior named Whiplash.
Battle Armor, He-Man, and Skeletor, Whiplash, and Buzz-Off each sold separately.
And I, He-Man, have a powerful winged warrior named Buzz-Off. So it's the Super Stinger Buzz-Off against the vicious tail of Whiplash. Ha-ha! Now, may the mightiest warrior win.
Buzz-Off and Whiplash figures from the Masters of the Universe collection. Other action figures also sold separately from Mattel.
We now return to Turbo Team.
So yeah, there weren't actually like any toys whatsoever. There was a GoBots branded monogram model kit that creepily changed from a 1982 Pontiac Firebird into a robot with a human head on top, but that's it. How GoBots? Well, you can draw a line from Hanna-Barbera, who produced GoBots, to Ruby Spears, who was founded by Joe Ruby and Ken Spears, who had both been executives at Hanna-Barbera, and then Tonka, who licensed the GoBots, and Monogram is in there, and I don't know, Tonka's in there, Pontiac. It's not easy, it's not a straight line, but you can draw that line. There were a few other things, a coloring book. I thought there were a few other things. All right, there's no other things. Which proves my point. Having none of the things was the most important point of this cartoon. It was what it was, a thing of pure uninhibited indulgence of creativity and thought, intended for an audience that accepts things at face value because they do not possess the prejudice yet to concern themselves with taste or style or depth. They lived in the moment, sustained by the joy of each new thing that they were exposed to, as if it was the first time being exposed to anything because it was. The audience for Turbo Teen was as excited for a show about a guy who turns into a car the same way they were excited about seeing a dog or splashing a puddle or drinking marshmallow-saturated milk out of a bowl of cereal. This was a show for kids because kids don't ask questions about the physics of a car pogo hopping on its rear bumper. The internal logic of the show was perfectly sound enough for them. What's a metaphor? I don't know. What's a meta against? What's a meta in the first place? Bring on talking turbo boost car with dog friends, solve mysteries, fight crime. If you missed it, I hate to say that there's not much you can do to experience the purity of Turbo Teen for yourself. Not to its fullest, anyway. 5 episodes that have been found in English are available on DVD on eBay, but the other 8 appear to be lost. Episode 1, as of this video, may only be available in German. Turbo Teen is not high art. It was never intended to be, but it has become part of our modern pop culture lexicon, and for that purpose alone, it should be preserved. Turbo Teen is so obscure that you may not even realize when it's being referenced. Robot Chicken did their version, asking some of the same questions that we all have as adults in a standard skit without an ending on the Rabbits on a Roller Coaster episode. The Rotten Tomatoes show, which also was a thing at some point, ran a commercial with a not-so-subtle homage to Turbo Teen. Rick and Morty did their own version. Bender's transformation into Werecar mirrors Brett's, and even the Teen Titans Go episode, Teen Titans Vroom, reenacts the same origin story from the opening titles, changing all of the Titans into cars. We gotta act quickly. If there are tapes out there, if someone has these episodes, they need to be preserved. They belong in a museum. Even the fanfiction community at fanfiction.net/cartoon/turbo-teen is starting to lose interest. If Axe Cop became a thing for its indulgence in the chaotic stream of consciousness word association style of narrative structure, then what less do we owe Turbo Teen? What more? Everything has been done before and everything will be done again. So if you really want to tell new stories, you have to come up with new ideas. Turbo Teen is a rare example of genuinely unique stories with new characters and new situations that do not exist in any other piece of narrative art. It is a window into the willingness of the viewer to allow creators to tell whatever kind of story they want to tell without fear of meeting some arbitrary standard of sophistication. There is no modern gritty reboot of Turbo Teen coming because the adult mind no longer possesses the openness to see Turbo Teen for what it is, to unironically go along for the ride, understanding that the journey is more important than the destination, to appreciate Turbo Teen for the only thing it was ever meant to be, a show about a guy who turns into a car. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy or become a YouTube channel member. Both Patreon and YouTube channel membership have the same exclusive content, so choose your own adventure. Please share this video and let us know in the comments down below what you would do if you could turn into a car. Solve mysteries, drive yourself cross-country. Me? 2 things. Find ramps, jump them. What a thrill, right? Having tires instead of feet and hands.
No. Cut.